We are adding rational expressions, the second level here. So adding is the operation they're restricting it to. Rational means fraction. And expression means there's no equal sign. And as you can see, there's no equal sign. It looks like that we are having a minus sign here. That's not going to be a problem. Addition and subtraction have that same type of process of having a common denominator. So common denominator is our game. We're looking for factors that are kind of in common with these bottom numbers. So notice that this side right here is a little bit clouded because we see it as a trinomial. This one is a binomial. So in this case, whenever you see a trinomial, usually you're going to factor it. So we have to factor it to see if there's anything common with the x minus 7. If there's not, then we'll just multiply them together. If there is something in common, we'll make sure they share that common factor. All right, so what two numbers multiply to be negative 42, add to be negative 1? So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite everything. So we got a 5 over x minus 7. I'm going to go ahead and switch my color here so it's a little bit darker. Minus 7 over, what are the two numbers that multiply to be it? Well, I know it has to be parentheses. And they have to have the x in front. Okay. What two numbers multiply to be negative 42, add to be negative 7? So it's 6 and 7. 6 and 7 multiply to be 42, and then they can combine and subtract to have a negative answer. The negative is larger because the answer is negative, so the larger has to be negative. Negative's on the 7. And then that means the 6 has to be positive. All right, so now we can clearly see that there's an x minus 7 and x plus 6 in this one term as the denominator, and an x minus 7 here. So what is it missing on the left to have a common denominator? It's missing the x plus 6. So I have to multiply top and bottom by x plus 6. X plus 6, x plus 6. All right. So now I have that common denominator. Let's see. Do I want to simplify things? Let's go ahead, and I don't want to jump too many steps. So I have that same bottom number, so I know the bottom has to be x plus 6, x minus 7, and the top is this 5 is multiplied to both of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and distribute it after all. So it distributes to both of them. That gives me a 5x plus 30. Now I'm at that minus sign right here. That minus sign is right there. And then I have just a 7. If I had more than one term here, that minus sign would have to distribute. But I only have one term, so I'll go ahead and combine like terms here. That now gives me 5x. 30 minus 7 is 27. 23. And on the bottom is that same x plus 6. X minus 7. Sometimes we just have to check to make sure there's no common factors that might reduce here. There's no common factors between 5x and 23. If they had said fully simplify to 1, they do say it. They say fully simplify. So that means I need to go ahead and multiply the bottom out here. A couple different ways you can do it, generic rectangles. But I'm going to go ahead and just reverse the process that I had, which is 5x plus 23 is on top. And then when I multiply it out, it has to be x squared, x times x. And then they add to be the middle number and multiply to be the last number. And we already saw that's the solution there. So notice 6 minus 7 is negative 1. That has an x next to it. There's the negative x right there. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. So this is the fully simplified version. Usually, a lot of times they'll let us keep it in this factored form here if we know nothing cancels, but they want us to fully simplify it. So that should be our answer. And parentheses, This program sometimes makes it hard to divide, so I have to use parentheses here. There's the divide, so that throws everything under it. So if I don't have those parentheses, it'll just be under the 23. And then I'll put on the bottom the x quantity squared minus x minus 42. Okay. And everything's done. Let's see, exactly the same process. Good. Let's see if the next one's any different. Well, now look at what they have here. So they didn't fully simplify. Oh, that's no good. They should say, if they say fully simplify, that should have been simplified there. So they are doing a little bit of cheating because you should have fully simplified. Mine was fully simplified. So, but like I said, a lot of times they'll let you keep that factored form. That's the common, but it should be fully simplified if that's what they ask for. But I'll give them a pass this time. All right, let's go ahead and see what's next. See what the different problem types are. One denominator, they got all different kinds here. Okay. So one denominator is a trinomial, the other is a binomial. That's what I have. Just see what they have. One term, it's good to see what they're giving you. One term has a binomial denominator. One term has an x denominator. Okay, so you just multiply those together, have that common denominator. Two denominators are binomials that are negatives of each other. Okay, so this one's a bit tricky. It's good to kind of look over it. The 6 minus x, so I'm just going to focus on this one right here. Usually we like to have the x positive in front. Notice we have an x that's negative. So this is going to be our side work. I'm just going to go ahead and simplify right here, and I'll let you finish it off. All right. So the side work is trying to get 6 minus x into a different form. All right. So notice 6 is positive, x is negative. So I'm trying to give you an easier way of looking at it. If you look at this one, x is positive, 6 is negative. So they are exactly in opposites of each other. So that means if I pull out a negative sign from here, that changes every sign inside of here. So the 6 becomes a negative 6. The x becomes a positive x. And then it's real good just to kind of multiply it back through to confirm what we've done. If I multiply negative 6 times 6, I get positive 6. If I multiply negative times positive x, I get the negative x. So these are exactly the same things. And then usually, like I said, we have the x in front, so I'll just change the order here. Addition is commutative, so I can just change the order. And that's what we have. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll take it from here and see what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as 5x over the x minus 6. This is a minus sign, so it's up to you where you put it. It could be on bottom, it could be on top, it could be in front. So let's see what's kind of easier. I like putting it in front because remember, this is part of the fraction here. It's part of the fraction. So I'll say plus, I'm going to move that negative sign up to the top. And then I have the x minus 6 on the bottom. Now, there's several different ways, like I said, you can kind of approach it with this negative sign right here. This way, I think is a little bit the cleanest way to when you're combining the tops. But you have a common denominator now. So it's going to be 5x minus 1 over that common denominator of x minus 6. And nothing else cancels or simplifies, so that's going to be your final answer. Okay, so that's how that one is. Let's see how the next set, if there's anything different. Multiply these two together. Difference of squares, so you have to factor that again. And this is like the one that I had done previously.